Hello everyone, this is Dave from Dave's Recent Things. Hello, yes, I am back after a very unexpected 2-week hiatus. I apologize for that. It was unexpected. It wasn't on my radar at all. I did post on my YouTube channel a little while ago, and I have to thank you all for all of the comments. Loved them all, read them all. Thank you for your congratulations on that. I did get a new position in the company that I worked for, so there was a transition period, there was a lot of training as well, and taking over, etc., etc. I don't want to get into it all, but there was a lot of that. And actually, I did feel very run down. I wasn't feeling very well. I thought I was going to have a cold. Turns out, a couple of days ago, went to my doctor. I have pneumonia. Now, don't worry, I feel 1,000 times better right now because of the medications. I have an amazing doctor, but that's kind of why I had a little bit of a hiatus. Now, beginning this week, I will say it was gray, it was rainy, it was cold here in Ontario, Canada, and I really wanted to get myself in a better mood. So, like I said, I was feeling run down, tired, and congested, blah, 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 poor me, I know. But I wanted to do something that'll cheer me up, something colorful, something that reminds me of summer, because summer really is only a couple of months away. Today, what are we doing? A watermelon wreath. So we're going to be using a wreath board, we're going to be using 10-inch deco mesh, Ruffle method, and it's going to be a watermelon theme. Why don't I just get started and I'll show you what I made. For our watermelon theme, I'm using this oval wreath board. I am going to be using 10-inch by 10-yard deco mesh with some metallic strips, this metal sign that looks like flip-flops with a watermelon theme, a Hello Summer watermelon theme sign, also some 1.5-inch and as well 2.5-inch, both are wired ribbon. They have a watermelon theme also. Notice the theme? Some cable ties, some color coordinating pipe cleaners, and of course my regular crafting utensils to create this project today. I am going to first start off, I have my cutting mat, I have my glass cutting board, and I have my burning tool all ready to go. If you don't have that, a rotary cutter, scissors, and a ruler work perfectly fine as well. Today I am going to use my burning tool, and our lucky number is 18. So we will be cutting our deco mesh today at the 18-inch mark. I'm just going to lay it all out, use my rock tools as a guide, and I'm going to cut at that 18-inch mark. So today we are using the Ruffle method. I am using 10-inch by 10-yard deco mesh. This has a couple of metallic green stripes in it, and I'm cutting 20 pieces at 18 inches, so that's using the entire roll of our deco mesh. And again, using that burning tool to seal those edges. I'm also going to cut my ribbon at 14 inches. So here I have a 1.5-inch wired ribbon, black and white watermelon theme, a green embossed, another watermelon theme. This is 2.5 inches and another 2.5 inches of that checkered green. So here are my ribbon cut lengths. I'm using 1.5 and 2.5-inch wired ribbon. Ribbon number 1 and 2 is 5 pieces each, cut at 14 inches. That's the 1.5-inch. And then ribbon number 3 and 4, that's the 2.5-inch wired ribbon, 5 pieces each at that 14-inch mark. Then I'm going to fold them in half, line up those edges, and if you've never done a dovetail before, all you do is fold it in half, cut on an angle that you want, and it'll create a little finishing edge for you. The narrower your scissors are on an angle, the less deep, or the shallower the cut, the more of an angle of your scissors, the deeper the cut will be for your dovetails. Sparrow tails, fish tails, however you want to call it. Here is our wreath board, and you notice there's holes all the way going around. If we flip it over on the back side, you can see lines that indicate row number 1, 2, and 3. We have our outside row, our middle row, and then we have our inside row. As well, you're going to notice a couple of holes right at the top. Now, on the other side, there is no holes. What these two holes are for to put the cable tie pipe cleaner to hang your wreath. For us, The first thing we're going to start with is the 2 outside rows. That's going to be the outer row, and I'm going to use the 2 holes. Then I'm going to skip a row. Then I'm going to use the 2 outside holes, and I'm going to show you with the marker. Now, I always mark my wreath boards when I do them, just because once you get everything in there, it helps a lot easier down the road. And we're going to do 10 of those sections. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the outside. And then we're going to come on the inside, and we're only going to use 1 hole instead of a double hole. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in that space in between, and I'm going to circle those singular holes. We're going to skip 1, circle, skip 1, circle, so on and so forth, all the way around on that inner side. And again, we have 10 of those circles. 10 plus 10, that equals 20. That's the amount of cuts we did for our deco mesh. Once we have that all formed and laid out, now I'm going to take my cable tie. I'm going to insert one end on the outer side. One end I'm going to insert back into the second row. So row number 1 we're inserting, row number 2 we are placing it back, and we're not going to put those cable ties together. So we're going to skip a row, come to the next row that we mark, and do the exact same thing. Feed one end of the cable tie through, pop it through, back again through that middle hole, and again, do not close that cable tie. We're going to skip a hole, and of course we're going to do this same method for 10 cable ties all the way around the outside 2 rows. So here it is all attached. I have my cable ties all through my 2 double holes all around. And just to let you know how it looks when it's sideways, nothing is closed. Our cable ties are fully opened. Of course, now comes the fun part. Grab your ribbon. I'm going to grab my 2.5-inch wired ribbon, and I'm also going to grab a 1.5-inch wired ribbon. Per section or per bundle, I'm using 2 pieces of ribbon. So I'm going to overlap them, fold them in half, find my center, gather it together in that center crease I just created, pull them together, creating a little V shape, and then I'm just going to pinch that little corner of the V shape just to really enhance that V shape. Now it's going to stay that way because it's a wired ribbon. Then we're going to take our deco mesh, lay it flat with the curl side facing down. I'm going to use a little rock here. You can use scissors or whatever you want. We're going to find our center first, and then we're going to plant those thumbs right down. So there's kind of like an anchor. And then guess what? We're going to let those fingers do the walking. We're going to gather it all together with our fingers right down the center, following that middle. And you can see here it creates a little bow tie shape, and that's our ruffle. Now I'm going to take my ribbon bundle, place it into my right hand, so I have my left hand free, and I'm going to go to my first available cable tie that's open. I'm going to place that right in the middle there, and then I'm going to take the 2 ends, match them together, pull them through, but I'm not going to pull them all the way through very tight, because this is going to give me ample time to move it all around, get it how I want it placed, the ribbons, etc., etc. And what I want to do with the ribbons is I want to have the V shape facing out. So the narrowest part facing in and the widest facing out. Once I'm happy with it, I yank it really tight, and then I'm going to cut off the excess. And we have our first little bundle all created. Now we're going to go on to the second bundle. We're going to repeat the same method. I'm going to use a 2.5-inch and a 1.5-inch wired ribbon. Find the middle, fold it in half, create that V shape, grab my 10-inch deco mesh, curl side down, anchor those thumbs, let the fingers do the walking to create that beautiful ruffle, find our middle, and then bring together everything. And then we're going to put it all together in that next available cable tie. We're not going to tie it tight just yet. We're just going to fluff everything up a little bit, and then once I'm happy with how everything goes, pull it really tight, and then cut the excess off. We've got 2 bundles down, 8 more to go on our outside round, and I'm just going to continuing on, doing the same method of procedure, attaching everything on that outside. And here I am putting the last little one on there. this is the outside. Once that's all done, I'm going to work on my inside. And this is where circling your holes really comes in handy. I don't have to fuss around. I know exactly where I'm going to put those cable ties. This time around, I'm only going to place the cable tie through the hole, and I'm not going to attach it together again. So I'm not closing that loop. I'm going to leave it open. And then I'm going to come to the next available one that I've circled, put the cable tie through, and I'm going to do that for all the insides. I'm just going to put in that singular one, and then once it comes time to add our bundles, we do the exact same method of procedure we did before creating our bundles. With that 2.5 inch ribbon, the 1.5 inch ribbon, we're going to gather the 10 inch deco mesh with our fingers, put those together, and then place it right in between those two openings that we have right here. I shouldn't say two openings. It's one opening with one cable tie. Pardon me, I've got pneumonia brain. But there we go. That's how we do the inside. And we do the same thing. So we have our ribbons with the widest V-shape facing out and the shortest V-shape facing in. I want all that ribbon to kind of come and flow out from the center, if you will. And then once I'm done, I've got that center done. I've got the outside done. And now, of course, you know me, I'm going to start fluffing those ribbons even before I'm done. But here is our wreath all set up. The base is done. And now, of course, we're going to work on some of our signs. The metal sign that I have here, it has a little kind of a hook or attachment on the back, which is perfect because all I'm going to do is I'm going to feed a pipe cleaner right through that, twist it a couple of times, and that's how I'm going to attach it to our wreath board. For our Hello Summer sign, I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue just in a couple of rows on the outside. Add those pipe cleaners in that glue. Use my handy dandy tool that I love so much. And then we're going to add a little bit more hot glue right at the end. Wait for that all to dry. And then once that's all dry, we can attach it all together. Here we have everything together, and a couple of final steps. Do you remember those two holes I explained to you right at the beginning of the video where we're going to hang our wreath from? I'm going to grab another cable tie, feed it through one of the holes, then I'm going to feed it through that opposite hole coming through again, just like we did before with that first row. Again, put it through together, let it click a couple times, maybe 3 or 4 times, don't close it fully. Cut off the excess, and I'll show you in 2 seconds. We created a little loop for you to hang your wreath. So a great idea on these wreath boards. Love this idea. And now it is time for us to hang those beautiful signs on there. I have a little hole available right at the top there. That's where I'm going to hang my little flip-flops. I'm going to feed the pipe cleaners through the hole, twist it on the back side, make sure everything is how I want it. Then I'm going to do the same thing for our Hello Summer sign. So I'm just feeding those pipe cleaners right through the back, attaching them through the holes, and then just twisting them a couple of times to make sure it's nice and secure. Once I'm happy with the placement, I flip it over, make sure everything's good, flip it back over again, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut the excess of those pipe cleaners off. And then, of course, you know the drill, fluff, fluff, fluff. Yes, even with pneumonia, I am still fluffing my wreaths. Now, to fill those two little holes, I always have like these little beads that I have. They're like little pearl beads in different sizes. So I find a size that works, add a little bit of hot glue, and then I just insert that over the hole. And that's a great way, great little tip to cover up those holes and just add a little finishing touch to your beautiful wreath. And here is our Hello Summer watermelon wreath with our green and red deco mesh. I love the green metallic on this deco mesh. Our 4 different ribbons, of course, our 2 signs, all a beautiful watermelon theme. I said to you earlier on, it was kind of gray and foggy and gross this week, and this really just took me out of that, I don't know, spring blah and made me happy, made me smile, and I hope this wreath makes you smile as well. Here's a couple of bloopers for you today. Hello, yes, I'm back. I had a very unexpected 2-week hiatus. I did post on YouTube the other day. What did I post? I don't know. There's the cough. Just hold off on the cough, please. Not too many bloopers today, I will admit. Even though I'm feeling a little down, I was impressed that I got it on the third take today. Thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye for now.